So how are you doing?
Doing good. Cannot complain. I am in Colorado right now and I'm enjoying Colorado.
Well, I was going to ask you, did you go out there on purpose or were you already out there and you got quarantined there or how'd that happen?
No, I came here for Justin.
Okay.
Let me charge this bad boy. All right. There we go.
So at what point did you know you were going to be going out there to help him with his camp?
Uh, well, he pretty much called me a week before he knew, or no, the week he found out, and I said, yeah, I'll come through. I'll come through for a week or so.
And what are you guys doing? Like what's camp been like? I know you don't want to give too much away, of course, but
Grappling, striking, wrestling. So we've pretty much done it all. We've even done sprints, and I've only been here 3 days, so
yeah.
it's been quite a bit. Uh, the idea is I got jujitsu that could mimic Tony. I'm a little bit longer than the average lightweight, and not as long as Tony, but I'm pretty long. And I try to be awkward and mimic things like that, and put on a high pace, which is something I normally do. So that's the idea.
Right. And I know you're local, to where Tony is. Have you overlapped? Have you trained with Tony? Are you kind of no? Okay.
I think I've met him once, like 6 years ago at a UFC summit. I
Okay.
don't know if it was called a summit back then.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, so there's not like any special insider training that you.
Uh,
So I noticed there was this photo going around with a bunch of you guys. Kamaru Usman was there, Drew Dober, Neil Magny. Was that all just like fight camp, or did that just happen to be that you guys were there? Like, explain to me how that photo came about.
I think that's just sparring day.
Yeah,
And I'm here, so I got to jump in on sparring day.
yeah. And so, have you guys had any troubles because of all the shutdowns, or people like giving you any grief, or?
Well, we're keeping it to a minimum, and it's private. I mean, it's private training, so I think that's why we haven't had any problems yet. And I
Right.
don't, to be honest, see us having any problems.
Right. And you mentioned on Instagram recently that you felt like, you're pro keeping the fight game going. Obviously you're helping Justin. So can you tell me, like, from your own words, I know it's different when you type it, like what are your feelings behind that?
So I understand how serious the situation is, but I also know as fighters we make our living like this, and you got to remember fighters are super emotional. If we're not doing well, we go through this roller coaster, and we might end up in a worse place if you know had we not fought. So it's important for fighters to fight when we don't have a job. What's the saying? Idle hands,
Yeah.
are the devil's workshop. That's kind of the idea. I just feel like as long as we stay focused on something, as long as you give us something to focus on, fighters will stay focused and not get in trouble or cause trouble, and support our family. That's kind of my idea behind this. I think the shutdown needs to slowly start opening up. I'm not saying right away, but little by little, I think we should start reopening.
Yeah. And and with that in mind, obviously 249 was canceled and then rebooked and then I mean, it's like kind of a yo-yo effect. What's the mindset for you guys? Are you guys just assuming this is happening, or do you know this is happening? I mean,
Nope. Nobody knows anything. Uh, I like the way Justin thinks though. He's like, for me, it's happening 100% because if not, I'm not going to be pushing it as hard as I can. So with that being said, I just he's just training 100%, and I don't feel like getting my ass kicked, so I'm training 100%, making sure I give as much as I take.
right. And I know there was nothing official that I saw. Are you booked for another fight, or were you booked for another fight? Has there been any talks? No.
They spoke to me about some stuff, possibly, but then the COVID-19 situation happened, and so I haven't really heard anything. And then my manager reached out and he's like, "When would you like to fight?" I was like, "Well, all things considering, maybe June or July, but nothing's official, so I don't really have anything."
Do you have any opponents you have in mind that you'd like to fight, or anyone that was offered to you?
Man, I don't. No one's been offered, but I would love someone top 10, top five. I think I have what 12 or 13 wins in the UFC, 17 fights total. Bit of a streak going. I think it's time I get someone in the top five.
Yeah. And you had that crazy second round KO. I was there. Remember it was great.
Yeah.
How long does that high of a win last? Like does it go away after about a week and you're just itching to get back in?
Yeah, for me, it doesn't last long, especially with my family. As soon as I show up, my family like they'll be like, "Oh, good job for a couple of days," and then afterwards, "So, when are you fighting again?" I'm like, "God,
Yeah.
I just fought," and it's surprisingly same thing with my students at the gym and my friends. They're like, "So, when are you fighting again?" I was like, "I just fought like a couple of days ago," and so yeah, the high doesn't last long. I mean, this fight was for me was I got a lot more attention, so that was nice, but it's business as usual. I'd like to fight as soon as I can. I don't feel any different in terms of motivation or I don't know. Everything's the same for me. I would like to fight June or July.
Right. Now, if they offered you a fight, let's say, obviously not 249 now, but if they had offered you a fight, during this whole, nobody in the arena and kind of up in the air, would you have accepted or would you have waited for a little bit more security?
No, I would totally take it. I would love to do that. No one in the arena. Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love fans, but I'm also, you know, I get scared when I'm walking out. I go through a bunch of feelings, and I think not having the fans might help with that. So, and I know they're watching anyways. They're gonna watch from home. So I would love to do it, whether it be the Fight Island, whether it be Apex Gym or Florida, whatever they're talking about. I'm down. I would love to fight in the safest way possible.
So speaking of fans, you mentioned, getting nervous and going out there. Do you hear the fans when you're fighting? Like, do you hear them booing? Do you hear them cheering or chanting? Like, is that really something you guys hear?
Yeah, I normally in the beginning I didn't, but as I progress with my fights, I've started to be able to hear my coaches better. I can hear the fans better. I know when they're happy. I know when they're upset, and I don't know if I'm feeding off of it yet, but I can definitely feel the I can feel the tension more now.
Yeah. I've always wondered about that. It's kind of cool to have that insight because, we as fans, we don't know how much you guys can hear, and it's nice to know that you guys can hear at least the positive stuff. So
Well, the first couple of fights I didn't hear anything, and then recently I can hear the negative, I can hear the positive. When I was on Drakar's back, I was on there for maybe a couple of minutes, and I could hear them starting to boo, and I was like, "What else do you want me to
yeah.
do? What else can I do? I'm trying to crush his face, but it's not happening. So
Yeah.
get over it.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think you're suddenly able to? Is it just like it's you've gotten used to it?
Could be. I don't know. That's a good question. I think because I'm just as nervous. My nerves never go away. Oh, maybe I'm more focused or something. I'm always trying to listen to my coaches when what they're saying. I don't really have an answer for you.
Well, think about it. Get back to me. And I'm
Okay.
going to have one last question for you. I think we know who you're going to predict for the main event for UFC 249, but could you maybe give us a method or a round that you think that this fight will?
I'm thinking first round stoppage from Justin. Just sparring with him. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Man, he hits hard. He hits hard, and he can keep hitting you. And he, I know he hasn't had a full camp, but he's not the kind of guy that gets tired. So I think this is a really bad matchup for Tony.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. And I'm glad we finally got connected with all that audio and stuff.
Problem. That was my first time having so much problems with.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right. It happens. Not your fault. Thank you so much.
No problem. Take
Have a
care.
good day. Bye bye.